Welcome back to the Personal Injury Law Show, viewers. It's that time of show where we've got the mailbag. Good evening, Anna. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Tony. Lovely to be here again.
What do you think about the show and Shane Warne and cyclists?
I always enjoy a high-profile case like that.
Isn't it sad that the roads have become vehicle versus cyclists? Something's got to be done about it, because I think it's going to be a massive problem in the future.
I think that it does, Tony, and there's so many more cyclists on the road. Just driving in the city every day, most of the roads are taken up by cyclists. So something has to give, I think, Tony.
Look, I think we should encourage them, but at the same time, there's got to be protection afforded both ways. Is that the way to go, Anna?
I think it's probably, from my short amount of experience, I think it would be a good way to amend things.
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of... Anyway, let's get on with these questions, otherwise time will fly.
Sure. The first question comes from Steve in Bundoora. Steve writes, I went out with my friends a few weeks ago and my mate drove me home afterwards. He told me he had only had a couple of drinks and he was fine. He ended up crashing the car and I later found out that he was breath tested after the accident and was well above the legal blood alcohol limit. Do I still have a claim? Don, do you want to give that one a go?
Well, the answer is yes. If you're involved in a transport accident, he was a passenger, he's entitled to claim benefits from the TAC. Those benefits include medical expenses, wages, and also lump sum if he sustained a permanent impairment. First thing he has to do, Tony, is obviously lodge a claim for compensation. And he also may have some common law rights if he sustained a serious injury. And
Don, he's got to make sure he lodges it within time, because a lot of these people wait too long.
That's right. You've only got 12 months from the date of the accident or from when the injury first manifests itself to lodge it. There is a 2-year discretion period, but you have to provide reasons to the TAC as to why you haven't lodged it within the first 12 months.
And outside 3 years?
Outside 3 years, there's no entitlements.
And you can't extend?
Cannot extend.
Okay.
Cannot. But the issue in this case would obviously be if he does have a serious injury and he can prove fault, negligence, but there'll be an issue as to being in a vehicle with a drunk driver.
Don, what about his knowledge? If he had knowledge that he was intoxicated?
Well, if he had knowledge, I guess the extent of the knowledge, how intoxicated was he, so inebriated the driver that he couldn't stand up. The way I would factor into his case is obviously if he is successful in a claim for negligence, it might be reduced for contributory negligence.
But will he be thrown out altogether? No.
Look, there is that risk, depending on the extent of drunkenness of the driver, that there could be what we call a valenti argument or voluntary assumption of risk. Get in the car with a drunk person, the risk would be that it's going to be an accident. But the reality is
there'd be a reduction in damages as opposed to being turfed out altogether.
That's right. That's entirely right.
So get legal advice is the theme, isn't it?
Well, I think so. And also don't get in the car with a drunk driver, Tony.
That's true.
I hope we've given you some good things to think about there, Steve. Our next question comes from Debbie in Preston. Debbie writes that her 13-year-old son was riding his bike with a group of friends last week. He was hit by a car and sustained injuries and was admitted to hospital. He was lucky and they didn't find any broken bones, but he still complains of pain. A friend of me told me that you cannot make a TAC claim if you are under 18 years of age. Is this correct? And what does this mean for my son?
Wrong.
Yeah, it's entirely wrong. You can lodge a claim on his behalf because he's still a minor, so you lodge it within 12 months from the date of the accident or from when the injury first manifests itself. There is that further 2-year discretion period where you must provide reasons to the TAC. But in a minor, Tony, if the parents, for whatever reason, don't lodge a claim within the first 3 years, the minor can lodge a claim in his own right when he turns 18.
And how much time after 18 does he have?
Well, the law's been amended and it's been increased to 3 years. It used to be 12 months, but it's gone to 3 years, so until he's 21.
So there's a bit of leverage here.
Oh, there is, but of course we're encouraged to lodge it straight away because it looks like there'll be some medical expense that he's incurred.
And pain can be a problem too, can't it? Because over time it could become chronic.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, things might not show up on x-rays, but it doesn't mean you don't have a significant problem.
No,
especially for a kid who's only 13 who's got a long time.
Yeah, and that's right. I mean, it's always good to get checked out straight away, keep regular in touch with the GP as well, Tony, just to see how things are progressing.
And have diagnostic tests carried out. You never know, something might show up on a scan.
That's right.
Yeah.
But do encourage you, Debbie, lodge the claim straight away on his behalf.
That's it. Once again, get advice.
Get advice.
Thank you again for writing in, Debbie. And our final question is from Mel in Windsor. The other day I was walking my dog and an aggressive staffy came and attacked my poodle out of nowhere. I kicked the other dog and abused the owners who didn't seem to care. I rushed my dog to the vet and luckily she's recovering okay with some stitches, but is there anything I can do? Can I claim vet expenses if I am able to track down the owner?
Yeah,
I think the answer is yes,
I think you can.
because you should have had the dog on a leash. The law says that.
That's right.
There's a lot of legislation about this these days. In fact, if you can work out who the owner is, and if they didn't have them on a leash, they do get prosecuted by the council, don't they?
I think in any dog attack cases, the council will investigate, and there's too many cases out there, Tony, of where this is occurring, and councils are really getting strict on it as to what they can do.
Didn't we have a case of the news reporter that was badly injured this week?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But in this case, she's lucky she didn't sustain any injuries, Tony. But what happens if she sustained injuries? What rights does she have?
She could sue the owner once again if you can identify who owns the dog.
And the
and
other issue is insurance too.
And it's strict liability too.
That's right. But I believe that the threshold of the 5% physical injury threshold applies to.
Yeah, I think it does.
So that pretty much means that if you sustain personal injuries, you've got to satisfy that 5% threshold to be entitled to recover.
Well, just on that issue, the owner of the dog's got to be careful because traditionally your contents policy picked up your dog biting someone else. But now, because they've had so many claims, the insurers, they want you to take out separate cover or additional coverage. So I think that's something you've got to start looking at. If you've got dangerous dogs and you plan on walking them and you're not prepared to put them on leashes, that's something you should really look at, paying that extra premium just to protect yourself.
Does
Well,
it
some
matter
people
where
get really
the dog
nasty.
attack occurs though, if it's
It
in
doesn't matter
public?
because you've
or-
got to have it on a leash.
Yeah, historically, most insurance companies did cover the dog attacks.
There's
But you're
been so
quite
many
right.
cases.
And I think it's quite important if you do have dogs, have a look at your insurance coverage. Because if you don't have any insurance, Tony, and you sit on
Well, they'll
some
come after you
assets,
personally.
they come after you
Yeah,
personally.
they'll, sell your house if they have to.
And,
But
and if there's such an order against them, that can last for up to
that's
15
it.
years.
That's exactly right. Get advice once again. Anna,
Good advice.
you want-
Thank you for your questions again this week, viewers. Just remember you can always contact us via Facebook or Twitter and also on our website www.thepishow.com, and you can also check out our previous episodes there.
And viewers, keep writing in because we find them very interesting to answer these questions. And also, if there's any particular topic you want us to do, write in and we'll see if we can do it for you. But remember, it's got to be personal injuries. And Don, Anna, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Viewers, thanks for watching and stay tuned and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.